Hello. So, for my interlanguage analysis project, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to get this like fully up. I analyzed a blog from Noriko. Noriko is from Nara, Japan. I don't know how old Noriko is, but they like to read and they love sushi. And I thought Noriko did a really good job writing. They seem pretty good with English. They seem pretty aware of a lot of different conventions, I guess, of English. So that's a good thing. But then onto their strengths and weaknesses. So I noticed that Norco was really good about using adverbs in their sentences. So one specific example was so and a lot. So to sort of convey that um, there were a certain amount of things, or I guess to the degree of which something happened or occurred, they used a lot. And I thought that was really good, especially for like an ESL student. Um, and then so, that as well. I thought that was pretty good that they were aware that that is also an adverb that can be used. And then I also, they were really knowledgeable about different tenses, like past and present and future. There weren't really any of the you know how we're all aware of like the more complicated, I guess, tenses, and we went over those, like conditional and simple, all those, well, no, simple, they use simple well. But a lot of the other tenses, but like past, switching between past, present, and future, Norgo is really good with those. At least for me, when I was learning French in high school, sometimes I mixed it up a bit, like when we had to do like future tense, I'd be like, oh, uh-oh, and I'd end up just saying it in present. So I thought that was really good. I feel like that's a good, being good at going between tenses. I feel like that's a good marker of whether or not how well someone might be doing in English, how knowledgeable they might be on it. But there are also some weaknesses, as you might guess, and Nargo tended to omit both pronouns and articles. And according to what I found, just through like little research thingies, Japanese, they tend to omit the pronouns in their speech and writing. It's not as big of a deal. But in English, a lot of times sentences won't make a ton of sense without pronouns. Um, for example, I'm also sorry, I have strep throat, so I sound a little weird. Um, for example, if I said, like he goes to the store, if I omitted that, if I just said goes to the store, doesn't doesn't really make sense. Like, who is going to the store? So that was a bit of a thing I noticed. And then same with articles, a, an, and the. Norco did use those a bit, but it was sort of infrequent. So, oh, hi. So I thought to mention that there were some articles missing. So to sort of conquer these issues that were present in Noriko's writing, I typed up a bit of, well, we all did, the teaching suggestions. So I thought the deductive explicit approach for lessons would work best, just because it seems like Noriko already has a really solid foundation of English, and I feel as though that the deductive explicit approach, it's more direct. I feel like it's more straightforward, versus the more implicit approaches. And those are fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but the explicit ones, they're more like, all right, this is what we're doing today, this is what we're going to do, this is the rule we're trying to break down for you so that you can understand it. I feel like maybe it's just based off like how Noriko writes. I feel like also they'd appreciate that more. I don't know. But anyway, so I chose that. That's how I would go about teaching Noriko, or I would suggest someone teach Noriko. And then also the PPP, so presentation, practice, and then I forgot what the last P was. Let me pull it up real quick. Presentation, practice, and production. There we go. Presentation, practice, and production. I feel like it sort of goes along with the deductive explicit approach. I'm presenting the rule that we're learning, and then we'll practice it through different drills, activities, lessons. And then production. And let me see what I wrote here, if that's okay with everyone. Yeah, so I'll just go through and do that, and it goes along with my deductive suggestion. And then I thought of some drills that I liked when I was learning French in high school. We did a lot of the sentence completion when I was learning French, and I thought that those drills were really helpful when learning French, which, I mean, I don't know how similar that is to English. But anyway, based on what I read about sentence completion drills in Dr. K.O.'s slideshows, and then when I kind of just Googled it and read my own stuff about sentence completion, it seems like they can really help students to sort of visualize what is going on in the with the language, like what they need to fill in, and they can say it in their heads. And then I pulled up here, I'll pull up my example. Oh, they're right here, perfect. So here are my sentence completion. I hope you can see them, my sentence completion drills. So these are for pronouns. I completed blank yesterday, so Noriko Noriko would have to pick from this little pronoun text box what pronoun would fit there. So hopefully they'd pick it. I completed it yesterday because she, wouldn't work, or they wouldn't work. And obviously these drills would come after the deductive explicit approaches and the presentation in the steps of PPP. And then for this example, blank went to the store, her friend drove her. I was hoping that maybe by my, her, which goes along with she, for female pronouns, Noriko would hopefully pick she went to the store, her friend drove her. So I actually kind of like this one. But yeah, and then same with articles. I also thought sentence completion drills would work well with articles. Just instead of the pronouns here, it'd be a, an, or the. So good thing there. But then I also I really liked a lot of the games, the gamification of learning a language, and then communicative activities. I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. They can go hand in hand. And particularly when I was going through Dr. K.O.'s slides, I really liked the grammar auction, the students, however old they're, have fake money and they have to bid on certain grammar examples on whether they're correct or not. I wrote that as one of my teaching suggestions because I feel like even though the money is fake, it can really incentivize students to try and work harder at understanding the grammar that is being presented to them, and really put effort into understanding the lesson. I feel like that might work better for younger people, more middle or high school aged. But regardless, I still think it's fun, and I think putting fun in learning a language or learning anything, math, so whatever, it helps. And then actually doing something obviously helps with learning. So let me pull up my paper again, if that's okay with everyone. Yeah, so sentence completion drills. And then, yeah, I said here, gamification, that's always fun. Grammar auctions, that's what they're called. I don't know if I said that. That's nice. But yeah, and then also within that grammar auction that I just talked about, there is sort of a communication aspect to it where these students would have to talk to each other because they have the fake money and they have to figure out together what is incorrect, what is correct, and in that, hopefully they would be speaking English. If not, we'd say something like, hey, do this in English. But I think that'd be a really great way to get the students to communicate and figure out different aspects of English grammar. Um, I guess sort of overall summary, I didn't make a slide for this, but in my writing, I sort of summarized my experience with doing this project and reading Norco's blog as one, I really want to know where this student is today. Obviously I can't really know. I mean, Dr. Ko said she doesn't know. So but I thought that Norco was really, really good at writing in English. Obviously there were a few flaws as to be expected. I mean, even with us, who many of us are native English speakers, we still have flaws sometimes. But as an ESL learner, the English was pretty, it felt very fluent, give for the few flaws. But I really think that the teaching suggestions that I picked out could help Norco to sort of understand what mistakes they were making, and hopefully become more aware of why we need pronouns or why we use them or why we use articles and how they operate. Obviously, I'd have to present all that and then teach it to them, but then with the activities and games I picked out, I think it would really reinforce those grammar rules that I want Norco to know. So yeah, thanks for watching.